Hello, this was my FYP project. Looking at doing voltage mesh lighting. Unfortunately, it did not work out as I wanted it to, but I was able to do a couple of effects and hope to show it off right now. So I'll start with voltage mesh very much, and I say very much. It does very much across the thing, and then we have a voltage mesh light. And how this should work is that there should be like a visible beam. I want the visible beam going through this window, and then when you went through the window, it'd be like shadows. So from the light, it would just go through, or even if there was light all around here, it would still go through it and do some sort of shadow inside. It did not work. Right now, the best way I can talk about it is that it kind of just gives me a volumetric like fog. It's like as soon as I enter this church, it gives me a fog. And it's more around the area for sure. I do have some colors, like settings, different stuff you can do with it. It's nothing much. It's not perfect. It's very incomplete. But yeah, we have color. We can change the sample amount, which for this one, it should be doing something. But I think it might be, yeah, it is doing it. It's very just intensive. Yeah, okay. But yeah, no, it samples across the amount like very much you want to do. This is the density, scattering coefficient, and at the end of the day, it's kind of like more like a global sort of like volume fog. It's not perfect, and yeah, it's not what I wanted. I wanted the light come through the window, do some shadowing. At least that's like the basics of it. It did not work out, unfortunately. But then yeah, we have like max distance, other stuff. Like all these like parameters do something for the program. We have our light position, which yeah, this one does not get affected by this at all. Light direction should affect it, but I think it's like really hard to see, and you need to be like in different angles. Like all these parameters do something in the program, but to a weird extent where it might be hard to see. But that's why I'll be trying to show as much as I can. But yeah, it's like the light direction is more like to the sky, and depending on what these like three X, Y, Z are, and depending on what your world position is, you won't see any like volume like fog stuff at all. But it's not perfect in the sense that you might go from the fact you see it to not seeing it and seeing again if you just go in a straight line. And at least actually me, at least it doesn't feel right. I could be wrong, but I really want to actually have visuals of the actual fog. Like I'm like somewhere outside the area, but I can still see all these beams coming down or whatever. And it could be just that the beams coming down, but visually I could not get to debug it properly in time. I had a lot of problems with this program, from constant just not working. Smart pointers, if I had a lot of times where I just didn't set them up properly, so that would just break it. Instead of getting like get address solve or just get, I'll be using the at symbols, and symbols. I mean, to get the reference of it, and it wouldn't work. Sometimes it would. Sometimes I feel like it shouldn't work, or give me some please error, but it did not, unfortunately. So yeah, these values are very hard to tell in terms of like how to get affected. It shouldn't be like that. It should have been like very obvious. Like as soon as you did this, oh, it's very changing. This is changing. I think sample size, not even the actual final programs, since I was still messing around with it quite towards near the end of the deadline. We have density. But yeah, these just variables. These variables do match with this, like three boxes here, I'd say. That's how I can say it. is you say, oh, volumetric ray march, so we'll be doing ray marching in the wall space. But there was a bit of a funky one in the post-processor, which I'll explain in a bit. But yeah, that's the live one. That should have been where it's like a nice beam, maybe visualize it, it didn't work. I have fog, which it just kind of gives every geometry object a glow. That's the best way I can describe it. Which I did see when I was looking into like researching how to do this and doing volume bounds. Is that it's something I saw as quite common. It would be like a sphere, and it would have coefficients depending on how high or low it would go. It would like become more brighter, become more poked out, or maybe there's some light going in. But I felt like this was a bit more right in the right direction in terms of like actual getting it to ray march properly. And yeah, again, I can change the light, but at the end of the day, it just looks like it just applies to geometry than actually like doing some sort of beam. It's a bit odd, but then if I actually go like inside again, try to go into the church, it is like more brightly lit. So because of like the actual coefficients, it does change stuff around that. But at the end of the day, it's just not really doing as much as I want. For post-processing, we have Bloom Outside, which is this is like original code from, like strictly original code from NVIDIA's Gem 3 book. Inside it, they had how to do scattering, post-processing. The idea would be you would have like, let's say, tall buildings somewhere, and then light coming through behind them, and you do some sort of bloom, but then you might want to block them with like occlusion layers and stuff like that, which I did implement because I thought I needed it. But yeah, no, I had this, and it should in theory be like more like a separate little lights going around. I did have it in like one of my first attempts. I was able to get that working, but I could not replicate it again in the time frame I had for this framework. But yeah, again, you have values, you can change them. Again, it's hard to tell sometimes. And I think when I was doing these values, here we go. Okay, it did fix itself, but yeah, we have density. This light direction should change it. I don't know why it's not changing it. We have decay. We have our explosion. We have the mouse samples, which does feel kind of nice, and there's like how you can see it more visually, I feel like, and especially that would look really nice when there's actually like multiple rays. These two parameters down here, I think they're not getting used anymore, but before I would have them on my shadow mapping, so I could change the direction. But it didn't really make sense. Shadow bias is really good to get rid of any like shadow acne, which is like just weird artifacting. I looked into this quite a bit, not a lot, but like it was something I found out about, and it's like very easy to implement, so I did. But that's like the idea of this. For this to be like, it should have been like multiple beams come down. At first, I did try to make it go through windows. That's not really how screen space calculations worked. So I just kept working on it, which was a mistake on my part. I should have moved on and just did proper world, because like volumetric stuff instead of screen space. That was just a mistake on my part. But all the variables like passes, I use for my volumetric like post-processing. I use it for my just normal volumetric stuff, ray marching. I just feel like the only thing that really would need to be changed is the actual calculations in the ray march, because as soon as I change something, even like slight bit, it's different. The like stuff up here, the two different ones, they are identical except minor parts. And of course I have this one, which was like the biggest one I worked on. That's why I took so much like time, and it was just never working, and that's why I feel like this project just kind of ended up where I shouldn't have been. If you go on it does have like lights around, and it does have some form of shadowing, I feel like, but again, it just does not feel right. We can change all these, make it a bit nicer. If I do shadow map depth true quickly, it does look a bit nice, I feel like. 21. I meant should have worked on properly more. It's a bit odd. If I go inside now. Okay, yeah, 1 doesn't work. 2 gives me that like weird effect. Before it would again just do that sort of, but be more zoomed out is the best way I can describe it. But yeah, that's my artifact. It's a lot of problems, a lot of stuff I want to work on for GradX. Improve it, make it something more. I did add the like an object manager just so I can move stuff around. Only like the objects, like cubes, not the BJs are loaded in though. But yeah, this project did not end up going where I wanted to. I tried something that shouldn't have. I gave up from the start, or like not give up, but like thought about it differently. Screen space, volumetric stuff would have been fine if I wasn't trying to get stuff indoors. That was a mistake on my part, and then I kept adding passes, which will get explained in my technical video. So yeah, that's my project.